tag, and it's direct competition against Mr. Pluke himself.
Yeah, Chubbs has been around for a long time. Super Pluke, obviously another massive veteran, playing some of the top teams throughout the entire Contenders region of Europe. But now, OnePoint, they're pulling out something very interesting here. Very DPS heavy right now, and I really like this because you have Tech36 on the far as well as Flippy. Now, Flippy can go for body shots if Tech36 can hit a direct and immediately kill, so this works out very well. And with Zik in the back lines, basically hacking major targets, it just immobilizes his free team, whereas OnePoint, they can take any position that they like.
Yeah, it immobilizes their mobility, but it does also force them to move around a lot, as they've already had to lose that high ground to go on the point and start contesting. They haven't got the range to necessarily fight off a lot of these ranged targets like Flippy, as they're building towards ult charge, constantly keeping the point contested. Not been able to get that 33% yet, but now they do. They got the check markers. Eternal Academy step off the point, still trying to find a way to contend against this Tri-Spear. He's going to be the range for him, takes out Flippy with a right click of his own, and he's going to come out from the spawn room quite quickly. Eng brings him back into the fight, though.
Oh no, but Chow finds Scalar. That moment of downtime where the res goes off, there's no pocket from the Mercy. At OnePoint, absolutely have to get out there. That Disc Orb is so important to this composition to burn down targets quickly. You hack them, and they get Tech36 on them with the help from Flippy, but so far, Flippy's just not been making these shots, which are crucial for Tech36 to be able to follow up on. And Kenzie's able to just hold this angle, and versus a team which, by all rights, he shouldn't be able to get too much charge against, he's able to be at 100 charge consistently, which means it's so dangerous for Tech36 and Eng to hold this angle, which is why they're holding much further away right now.
Also, they've got the Transcendence from Tri-Spear online, so any big combo that comes in, it will be about Tri-Spear dodging the EMP from Zik or dodging the hack to make sure it's online for when it happens. And Point still being contested, but no mobility to be had just yet as Tech moves around to the side, wants to clear them off of the high ground. As Zik is there with that EMP. Flippy's already found Pollitt, so that's going to be really bad for him. The Tech36 has to heal up, pause his aggression for a tiny bit. They move forward. Valkyrie being popped. This is the movement in EMP into the barrage combo. Wants to find that second one. Will get picked off by Tri-Spear, but Zik finds the rest of them. Point A going over to OnePoint. There's no way they can contest this one. They do have ults in the bag for Point B, though.
Yeah, they do. And Chubbs has got this minefield, but you're more than likely going to expect to see a big switch off here onto 3-3. I doubt Chubbs is going to stay on this Hammond. Eternal Academy, like you say, they've got ultimates prepared for the next one, so this next fight is more or less a dry fight for OnePoint. One thing I'd like to talk about is there's such a really nice bait from Tech36 on our last point. He uses the concussive rocket to get in, and it almost looks he's going to go for this the big ultimate barrage there, and in that situation, Kenzie's waiting for it, and then the EMP comes through. Chubbs finds Zeal, though.
He's already found Zeal, and he's going to push the rest of the team back. Transcendence comes out. Pluke's going to answer with a kill onto Zik. Graviton Surge forced out this dry fight, already paying dividends as they get 2 ultimates out of Eternal Academy, and they don't really give much more else over. They've got a sound barrier and self-destruct to fight against next fight, though.
Yeah, that's massive from OnePoint there. That's a lot of ultimates burnt on the side of Eternal Academy. Sure, they're going to have the self-destruct shatter combination for the next one. Are they really?
He's being kept up.
Oh, such a shame. He was just jumping through the shield as well. Almost at safety, almost at the safe room. Unfortunate. Eternal Academy, they definitely have more than what's needed to hold on to the next push. But Ashcroft, like we've seen before, sound barriers haven't always been as effective as they need to be. So really, this next dry push from OnePoint needs to force out a little bit more from them. So really what you can expect to see is another aggressive push, try and remove one of those members and force them to use ultimates to win the fight off the back of it, because they don't really want to let any ticks go over here.
They can contend them on a walkway as well, but Super Pluke's already losing that positioning, has to drop down, so the rest of the team will rotate around to the point. Give that high ground away to Chubbs. It means Zik's going to have an easier time with those right clicks, raining down the volleys from below. And they're going to translate down to the point now in the back corner, and they'll take a more defensive position.
And it's really difficult for OnePoint, because all this while, Eternal Academy are just getting more ultimates online, and this similar patient playstyle that they played on King's Road, just building an ultimate, is really affecting them.
Well, Self-Destruct going to come out nice and early from Chow. Graviton Surge comes out. Flippy being caught off guard by that one. Ultimate's going down for OnePoint, so they commit Zik's Graviton Surge and the Transcendence from Scalar. But the fight is ultimately lost and in the favor of Eternal Academy.
It does feel so far that Zik is just throwing out these grabs left, right, and center when fights are lost in the beginning, oftentimes not hitting anyone with them. I think this aggressive playstyle from Zik is something that OnePoint are greatly suffering from. And Scalar, because Zik throws in that Graviton, Scalar's like, okay, maybe he thinks we can win this fight. Maybe we try and sustain through it and try and win the fight. But now they don't have a Transcendence. They crucially need to stop Kenzie. And already 3 minutes are removed from the clock for Eternal Academy. OnePoint here, they have to rally early, find a quick pick.
Going to do just that as they move forward, but there's that Graviton Surge. They're going to use the Sound Barrier instead to try and deter it. Pollitt are immediately charged, and Superfluke has to take cover from this bomb. Sound Barrier going to come out from Eternal Academy to answer. Shatter planted, but only catches Kenzie off to the side. Luke's now got one of his own to reuse on this one. We'll find Flippy on the side. Flamestrike going to be eaten up by the defense matrix, keeps him up, but Askov sweeps in the kill on the Tech 3-6 after the DMEX. So committing more ultimates from OnePoint in Eternal Academy are maintaining a good economic form.
This was the fight that OnePoint needed though, Tridd, because Zik now has Graviton online, and Scalar also has the Transcendence. B is a very difficult point to get into, and you have to take quite a while to force them off the high ground, make those rotations, because the chokes are so small. It's difficult to move through, and it's very predictable for Eternal Academy to see where this slow composition is going. Major things here for me is, does OnePoint use Scalar to get into position to put Zik in a place where he can get a massive Graviton, or do they save the Transcendence again?
Going to send in that self-destruct on the back line with the Transcendence, still finding Zik, so they throw that Graviton Surge, it's all for naught for OnePoint, and Scalar also committing the Transcendence. It's deja vu all over again. Eternal Academy forced that time back down to sub 2 minutes.
And consistently, Chow is not trying to combo his self-destruct with Kenzie's Graviton.
Ah, the Zappis bomb.
Yeah, it's the Zappis bomb, which I so famously critiqued earlier on in the season, but not famously, but I critiqued it. And, you know, I've changed my mind about it now because it creates a lot of space for your team. More than that, though, it means that the team that's actually trying to be aggressive has to make a decision of where they put their Reinhardt. And oftentimes it gets you a cheeky pick, and we saw there it got a pick onto Zik. And once again, Scalar uses Transcendence thinking they're going to win that fight. Need more patience coming out from OnePoint. At the moment, it's like a kid at Christmas at about 12:01 in the morning.
Scalar, he was on the naughty list apparently, as Superfluke's going to send him a Flame Strike, and it's just going to end his life, and the rest of OnePoint have to concede immediately after that. They're starting to get the ults back on the board. Zik still drastically lagging behind, but with 1 minute remaining, how much time can you spend on building an ult rather than using it? Eternal Academy, they're all ready to go.
Yeah, every time they're ready to go as well. They use minimal ultimates to win these fights. They play them slow, they play for the time, and that's exactly what they have done here. 56 seconds, OnePoint, they desperately need a pick in this fight, and they need it now.
Gonna have to contend against the Earth Shatter from Superfluke, and if they can get a pick, they might be able to win it. Going to go forward with the rally used very aggressively by Flippy as ultimates are starting to come online for him. Earth Shatter cancelled out. Fluke not going to be able to use that one. Sound Barrier to keep him alive, and then Chubbs drops his own one. Transcendence being used aggressively by Scalar, so he will take position on the point. But now the re-engage comes in with Tri-Spear's Transcendence with that Graviton Surge left in the middle. Self-destruct being committed. He's up on the high ground safely to recommit to the mech. Zik throws out that grab, only catches Kenzie, but there's no aggression. They have to hide from the self-destruct. They will find Zeal, but the rest of the reinforcements are coming out. Kenzie staying alive for now, but Flippy will get the Rocket Flare whip. They're all about burning the time back now. They can force out the overtime. It's a massive victory for OnePoint, and Superfluke doing his darn best to try and stay on there. Even Askoft as well. 6 seconds remaining. Zeal even gets on there with the Wrecking Ball to contend Tri-Spear. They're going to force him into overtime. This is huge for Eternal Academy because OnePoint are going to capture it, but they won't get another attempt if the completion comes in from EA when they jump onto their own offensive.
This is exactly what they wanted, and it seemed to be the game that they were playing from the very beginning here. It was all about the time bank. Eternal Academy played it so well. At OnePoint suffering from so many grabs wasted after a player goes down into Transcendences afterwards. I think Scalar's getting a little bit too overconfident with how much he can keep his team alive just pressing that Q button. I mean, it may heal 300 HPS, but it definitely doesn't resurrect people. That ultimate's gone.
I feel like his team needs like a presidential nuke system where they have like 2 keys to unlock his Q key.
Yeah, exactly.
Just to give some kind of oversight on his usage, because like you said, it is a little bit gung-ho at the moment, and it can be a little bit costly. And we saw, it was deja vu, it happened on 2 occasions. Zik's Graviton Surge, Scalar's Transcendence, coming in there on a lost fight, and it really harms and burns the time back that OnePoint had moving into point B.
Because then OnePoint I have to like work with a scuffed ult coming, right? And you've got to survive ultimates using Eng Sound Barrier when really you want to use that in a situation where your team's split up and you can go for these hard engages onto 2 specific points of the map. OnePoint here, I think a lot of it is kind of sad because Chubbs is really trying to stay alive heavily, but Zik keeps going for these aggressive Gravitons, whereas Kenzie's sometimes holding them to keep Superfluke alive by keeping Chubbs away from him. So now at OnePoint they have to play his composition here on defense, which is basically looking for the first point hold. This composition crumbles come point B. We have seen OnePoint play it on point B. They have this nice positioning on the back right corner. But a lot of times, this composition here is just about holding point A for as long as possible and potentially winning here. Because Eternal Academy, if they choose to play this composition, they can hold it into point B if they have some ultimates remaining.
Wait, hang on a minute. Flippy's already found Zeal. What's going on? Hold up. What's going on here? Zeal immediately dropped coming out of spawn. He's like, okay, let me rethink this. Might have to change off here. No, he's going to stick with the far for now. But I'm guessing that gave him a wake-up call coming onto this map.
Yeah, good picks out from Eternal Academy. They switch up what they want to do. Oh, full spam composition here. Chubb's 800 shield is going to melt under the pressure of the fire rockets, as well as Chow's Storm Arrow, which can just throw out so much DPS. So it's up to Flippy to find these picks and prevent Chubbs from taking so much pressure. That's it. That's what they needed.
Executed combo there. Chubbs firing the Holt out. Flippy getting the headshot off the back of it. Well played there. Usually see that combo with a Roadhog, but Flippy, he can jump on the Widowmaker and do it just as well.
Instead of a hook, it's just the bullet hitting you in the head, and that
it
does
doesn't
the trick.
pull you back.
No, it doesn't. It just ends you right there and then. One.PoinT have playing on the just on this top corner. It's very nice at the moment. I feel like Eternal Academy trying to play split, and really Flippy on that first attack didn't have too much value. Had to get a lot of support from his team. So if you continue to find these picks right now, he can extend the time that Eternal Academy are held from this point.
If you get those info sites online, Tri-Spear just immediately deleted. He now wants to keep an eye on where Zeal's going to come from as Plute goes to contest him.
Okay.
He's half HP already. He shows his head and he loses a lot of HP. Oh, Mercy nearly going down. But Flippy going to stay up. Going to be able to dodge out the damage. Immediately tags his next target. He's looking, right, where's the next target?
Got the leg!
He shoots him in the thigh! He cuts the femoral artery with the bullet. How precise, how much of a surgeon is this man?
He's doing very well. He's like a scalpel on this team. He's removing players left, right, and center. And Zeal makes a switch over to Genji. I mean, this guy's pretty accurate. He'll just shoot you in your foot if you dare try and reflect him. Shoot you in your big toe and destroy you that way.
It's an option for him. Anything's possible with Flippy. The deflect used a little bit. Oh, caught him on the end of the deflect as well. Just didn't get the headshot
Zeal's like, what
off.
do I do?
He's like, he's looking both angles. He's waiting for it. He doesn't know which way he's going to pop out of. It's the world's most scuffed game of whack-a-mole. He's trying to find the entry point. The Scaler's just going to keep everyone here.
It was the combo again.
Someone needs to stop Flippy. It's Tech36, takes out Kenzie, now Tri-Spear, the robot is the one, the Robro comes in with the save on Flippy, but he's just been rezzed up! He's back in the game, ready to contest Eternal Academy when they compete against him.
Great support from Tech36 to matrix that res coming through as well, make sure none of these stray projectiles take out the Ascoff as he goes for Eng as he goes for that res there. They're just going to use the Transcendence aggressively. Now this gives opportunity for Tech36 to throw in the bomb.
He sees the beam, he knows what's going to go in. Minefield found Chubb, so they've missed that main tank presence on the side of One.PoinT. They're going to have to use the tank form from Zik to replace it, but that just expires. This might be Eternal Academy finding their way into it as he takes out Tech36. They're going to deny the healing onto Zeal, but won't get the kill. Flippy's still up. A few good picks could turn this back around, but the rest of his team's faltered. That's going to be Eternal Academy capturing. They're going to have a 5-minute time bank for point B.
Now, it looks like Eternal Academy can stick with this. Like I said, they do have the ultimates to do it. They got a Dragon Strike to split up the team of One.PoinT and push them into the angles that Zeal can find them with the Dragon Blade. They're going to go to the corner. Zik stays on this Bastion for the time being, and Chubb's coming from the big bomb go. Could be good for them.
Dragon Blade immediately by Zeal. He descends from the heavens, taking out Zik and Scaler. Finds Chubbs as well. Those free picks, he opens it up. You need the brute force, but the res comes in onto Zik already. Need to heal him up, use his self-heal as well as Mercy to keep him up. They can't get in a position where they can contest the point. Bastion is significantly weaker in this form, and Zeal just chops him as Plute handily takes him out. The time bank's huge, and they're in absolute control. This is totally in the bag for Eternal Academy. It's going to take a miracle from One.PoinT to force out the draw.
Again, I don't think that's the play there, Tridd. Yeah, they stayed on that composition twice now, and it's failed for them twice. Come point B. Sure, they hold for a little bit, but a smart team like that will make the switch over to the Genji and just force you out that way. You have no Transcendence, you have no defensive ultimate, you've got the Nano Boost and the Valkyrie, and once both of those are used, the Dragon Blade is just massive, Nano Bladed or not. So One.PoinT, I think in that instance, really, what you have to do there is immediately make the switch to the free, because as we know, you bring a Brigitte into the field, and a Genji, it's sad days for him.
He's going to have a bad time. He is just straight up not having a good time.
Yeah, so I just don't think that's the play there from One.PoinT. I think it's a little bit overconfident to stay on that composition. I don't think there are too many members on Eternal Academy other than Super Pluke who are affected that badly from the Bastion. You have to have some insane tracking to hit everyone else because they are so skinny compared to the big ball that is Super Pluke there.
1Point are going to go on to a similar composition on the defense.
Again.
Flippy, fantastic performance first attempt, but you run the risk of Eternal Academy potentially downloading 1Point and now knowing what to do against this offensive. On the flip side, Flippy could just be there and just pop off again. We don't know.
Yeah, and now that they're playing this bunker comp right now, it's the hack and slash composition, the Sombra EMP and the Genji Blade, almost ensured to finish one off, and Kenzie's just insurance there on the team with the Pulse Bomb to remove the Bastion just in case the EMP doesn't do the trick in the end. So this is all going to be about a coordinated dive and just building ultimate charge at the beginning. Chubbs can potentially withstand one push with the Supercharger, but with 4 minutes in the time bank to begin with, this is looking horrendous for 1Point.
I like how cooldowns were used by Zeal across both gaps to make sure that he just stays alive. He's trying to contend Flippy. The Hulk pulls him away. He has to dash out immediately. He just doesn't want to take the chances now. You got Fluke diving in there with the Wrecking Ball. Remember, they've only got 33% to capture, so they're put on a bit of a timer here. They will take the shot. He's being contested by Kenzie. It was just a distraction for Tri-Spear as he finds Flippy and starts railing down the backline. Zik was able to take out Super Fluke with the Bastion. And then I got D-Mech on the Tech 3-6 for Kenzie to try and clean up. He needs to get close. Tri-Spear, again, finding Tech 3-6. They're trying to gun down Zik. There's the Pulse Bomb. Takes out Zik. They've lost their big gun. Now they can just get rid of the Mercy. No Resurrection can come out. The Discord Orb makes it happen with the Biotic Grenade as well. Chubbs has found 2, but is it enough? Scaler again. Pook will shut down that kill streak, but he still has to contend with multiple members. Getting back to the point here, Flippy will find Kenzie. The pole driver comes in, and Pluke will finally end Chubbs' reign of terror. Why is he spinning on the point? Start making progress. You've only got to capture 33%, and then going for the last-minute contestation here. This Tech 3-6 gets on there. EMP available for Chow for the next offensive.
Yeah, he can come back in, but the fact that 1Point able to hold that, Chubbs with the machine gun and the super, and he got nanoed as well as, so they managed to hold on to it, but now, not many ultimates remaining. They have the Valkyrie for that increased healing for everyone on the team, but out comes the EMP. That might just end it.
Flippy just takes out Chow straight away. Everyone stayed up so far. The Dragon Blade comes in, but they can't go anywhere because of that EMP. Big 2 with 1 slash of it. That's going to be Eternal Academy hacking and slashing their way to a 2-1 scoreline.
That's a very good push from Eternal Academy. It's incredible that 1Point able to hold on for so long there, so props to Scaler and Chubbs in that situation. Great shield placement, great dancing coming out from those two players with the nano on top. They got massive value out of all their ultimates there in the end, but it's just not quite enough. I think basically, again, it comes down to Eternal Academy holding on to ultimates, and I think it's a very clever decision from Chow. He's like, you know what, we are losing this fight. We're not going to do what we did on Lijiang, where we're going to try finishing this out quickly and early. We're just going to come back in with ultimates, and we're not going to forgive 1Point or ourselves for losing that fight.
Okay, well, we've got one more map potentially on the cards here, but we could also see that 5th map tiebreaker to decide who takes this series. Eternal Academy fighting to stay in chance of playoffs. Do not go anywhere. Well, welcome back. This could potentially be the last map of this series, and we got Eternal Academy in the lead after a substantial time back and a valiant hold on point B to force out overtime for 1 point.
It was pretty damn good, not going to lie. The attacks were very, very cool from Eternal Academy. They knew exactly what they were doing versus the compositions that 1 point actually ended up bringing out with the Bastion as well as there. And we have seen that quite a lot on Horizon, despite it being EU. Not too much goats there happening a lot of times. But they brought the hack and slash, and I think that's a testament to the backroom staff and the experience for the players on EA. They do know what they're doing in those situations. They do know what comps they want to bring out. And I think versus a team like 1 point where they're not massively flexible, but when they do bring something out, the fact that EA can immediately counter it, really, it makes 1 point suffer.
Yeah, and Flippy's been a fantastic addition from Young and Beautiful on this roster as well. Like, his performance on Horizon was just evidence enough that, yes, 1 point did not come out with the map win, but he put on a bit of a show for us on point A. Let's not kid ourselves here.
Yeah, he did, yeah. I mean, in the beginning there, he didn't get some of the shots on the attack that we wanted to see him hit. A lot of Tech 36 losing some of the value there, but I think he more than made up for it on the 2 defenses that we did see out of him. I think it's this... I guess unwant to switch come point B, like it's just an unwillingness, and I think despite you losing out on ultimate charge, I definitely think a GOATS team, if played correctly, because of that massive amount of sustain, the massive amount of damage denial, you can survive versus a DPS comp that maybe has 2 ultimates in the pocket, as long as you play it safe and you play those right angles. So I think 1 point maybe stick to their guns a little bit too much at times, be it free or be it their Bastion and Bastion bunker comps that they pull out.
Well, Eternal Academy want to put on a little bit of a DPS show for us again. Zeal and Kenzie taking the DPS picks, and you've got the old ball and chain combination, Chow and Superplute taking Orisa Roadhog. 1 point remains still to be seen. Doubt they'll run with the Mei, but I could definitely see a Hanzo or an Ashe coming out on here. There's lots of long sight lines to abuse.
This is kind of weird. We did see this composition quite a lot in Season 1 of Overwatch League, and for Eternal Academy, it's essentially very much classic counter dive, because you've got Zeal pumping in a lot of damage in the front line, and also Chow and Superplute able to basically pummel anyone who gets a little bit too close. But it seems that it's more or less to counter the Bastion, which 1 point understands, so they switch off. And they're going to have to rely on these flankers from Zik and Flippy to create some angles for this team. And Eternal Academy understand that. They get into a position where they can better hold just a single angle without worrying about one of these flanking snipers picking them off from behind or on the side.
The rooftop runners coming in with a little bit of difficulty for Eternal Academy. So like you said, Blank, they're going to go in and hide. Nice ball and hook, but Eng's already been picked off by a satchel charge. Flippy will find Tri-Spear, so they'll level it out, supports for support, but now Chow's in a lot of danger. The over-aggression.
That's aggressive.
Punished quite handily there. Chow buying off a little bit more than he can chew. Zik finds 2 on the back line. Any hope that Eternal Academy had to hold this one out? Askov got a battle mercy kill on Zik. What the hell's going on over there? And Superplute being kept up by that same mercy until Flippy puts a bullet through his head. Nice hook in. Guarantees that Askov is just sent miles away. 1 point should be coming in with the point A capture.
Yeah, go on then. I guess we'll take that one. Eternal Academy, they're going to make the quick switch.
Look at this pixel shot. If he nails this.
What are we playing here? What kind of game is this?
If he nails something, though.
Who would be interesting? Oh,
had the shield up, of course.
The shield's not gonna get you there. So
must be a Gladiators fan.
Absolutely, for sure. So 1 point, they've got to switch right now, and I think that definitely comes down to the fact that Eternal Academy, they played a bit aggressive there, went for some picks that they weren't by right. They weren't their right to take. I think Chow was like, I've got to kill Chubbs in this situation. Bear in mind, he had Fortify on. He got 50% less damage taken, and Chow's like, I will kill Chubbs. But 1 point making a wild rotation right now to send them all the way behind Eternal Academy and attack them from stair side.
I want to get off 1 point's wild ride as they're just taking him all the way around and flipping the position around on Eternal Academy, and they're just going to aggress onto them, try and force them down. There's a lot of critical health packs needing healing, but Eng's the first one to get a kill as he takes out Zeal. Transcendence comes out just in time, saving multiple members, but Payload, while this has been going on, has not found any movement, and now Tri-Spear brings out one of his own. Kenzie turning it back around. This is the re-engage from Eternal Academy. Any clever movements you have just been shut down here. Hang on a minute, those Zik finding 2 kills of his own. Kenzie and Tri-Spear going down, and with 60, 70 HP, and the shield regenerating with the help of his Lucio, he should be fine, but Eternal Academy didn't really fall down to that push.
Skeller just doesn't seem to be on his game today, and usually in these fights it is whoever uses the support ultimate last who definitely wins that out, and a lot of that comes down to Eternal Academy's disengages. Sure, they lose 1 member, but they disengage properly, and then because they wait so long, they've got 5 extra seconds that 1 point don't have of Transcendence, which is completely unmitigated, which means that Eternal Academy gets super aggressive.
Well, there's that self-destruct. Have to take cover behind that shield, and not going to be deterred by that one as they move forward with a self-destruct of their own. Chubb's absolutely fine. Throws the shadow down immediately after the shield's gone. Luke's easily just going to deal with Tech 3-6 afterwards. Chubb's shadow finding zero value as Eternal Academy maintain control of the point, especially since they demech Tech 3-6, and that means it's so easy for Kenzie to fire out this grab uncontested. They can't find any follow-up damage on top of it though until Ascov comes in and kills Chubbs, but they've lost Fluke in the process. Kenzie's still there with the damage, able to burn through Flippy, but now it's a segmented 1 point. You see them trying to rotate to get back with the rest of the team so that they can get those reinforcements in and not lose anything else.
I think Kenzie's played extremely well today. Like, projected barriers and self barriers is great, and it's a super good example of two very different Zaryas coming face to face, with Kenzie being very defensive and Zik being hyper aggressive. Chao's going to be looking for the eat here, knowing that Zik wants to go for an aggressive Graviton.
Yeah, he's going to hold out the defense matrix, waiting for the cooldown to come back. Goes in with the boosters. Sound barrier is already there to keep everyone topped up, so they move around the payload, and Chubbs are going to take out Super Fluke as expected. There's going to be that Graviton surge coming out. Zeal, the only one to caught up as Chubbs swings his hammer through, and now Chao goes in for the faster reset because the fight's pretty much over now. Going to capture that, get the next checkpoint, and move into the final section of this map.
I think Zik heard me when I said that, because I think he noticed the Diva Matrix that was behind him, and because he baited it out for so long, Chao spent so much stock into just constantly pressing the right click and getting up behind in the face of Zik that they just won that fight based on Zik's high charge alone. Eternal Academy, they've got a lot to deal with this push, however, and immediately engage with the rally.
This push 1 point off of that point, and Ascov dives into the back line trying to find some boot. The shield of Chubb's not very healthy, throws down a shadow immediately. Transcendence coming out very quickly from Tri-Spear, and Scalar has to answer afterwards. So finally, they have the overlap in their favor. The Graviton Surge comes in, self-destruct, going to drop down from above, but Fluke's already found Flipping. Chao finds 2, and 1 point has to go back to the spawn room.
But despite 1 point having a little less ultimates in the pocket, they do force quite a lot out of Eternal Academy there. It cost them 3 ultis, but Eternal Academy, they use many in that one fight. Chao finding Tech 36 is pretty bad for 1 point. They've got to wait for a little bit longer, and it also means that Eternal Academy have a huge amount of time now to restabilize and find exactly which position they want to hold. And look, Ascov already positioned him on the high ground to boot Chubbs down into the welcoming arms of Eternal Academy, and this is a problem that Chubbs have had so far. No one is looking at Ascov a lot of the time.
He wasn't having any of it this time though. He was able to stay with the rest of his team until they got himself down there. Tri-Spear taking out Zik, and there's Chao on another kill. Chubbs does answer back with a flare strike kill onto Super Fluke, but he's isolated himself now with Discord Orb. David just comes in with the giant mecha hands and just slaps him to the ground.
What are you meant to do against this? Like, Ascov is like a mosquito, just incessantly prodding Chubbs from behind all the time. And Chubbs can't really do anything about it because he's desperately trying to keep his team safe, but they can't go aggressive here because Ascov is getting a lot of a value, whereas the rest of the team is playing very defensive. So what do you do in this situation if you're Chubbs?
Ascov's just hiding in that corner trying to bully Chubbs at any opportunity. There's the sound barrier, Graviton Surge, self-destruct in the middle. Got to keep that shield up, and Chao's still going to find 2. The shield breaks from Chubbs. He goes down with Fluke. It's going to be up just to swing through this one, catch anyone on the retreat. They want to send it, get the D-Mech onto Tech 3-6 and send him back to the spawn room, and he sent out that self-destruct so he can go for a reset if he needs to. Eternal Academy burning so much of this time bank for 1 point.
Yeah, Eternal Academy, they basically got a hard drive from one of their mates plugged into the PC. It had 1 points, all their files on it, and they're just copying them over at hyper speeds right now because although 1 point, I think their main goal is to finish out fights quick with a combo, and Chao consistently holds onto the self-destruct for this reason. They just cannot find any way in. The self-destructs are insane from Chao at the moment. It creates so much space, and then after the ultimates are used, at 1 point try and clear it up, clean it up in those moments. They don't have any ultimates to finish out with. Eternal Academy, they always do.
They just use the grab for that fight, nothing else. And 1 point trying to mix up with 1 minute remaining, and they're going to go back to the original route, but we're seeing in how often Eternal Academy was able to deter this from 1 point. They're going to have to try and find something and hope that something changes.
Look how scared they are to walk out. Ascrov's not even there anymore, but his presence is still known.
Shatter does catch a few members and they're trying to burn through Fluke. The charge should do it, so they finally should be able to break this stranglehold. But they've only got 40 seconds to complete this final section. It's definitely holdable from Eternal Academy because there's probably only one more fight in it, Blank.
hugely holdable for Eternal Academy's perspective. They got so much online, and no ultimates, defensive ultimates as of yet for 1Point. So Eternal Academy, if they take a really aggressive fight here, using Rally to initiate it, they can potentially clean this up one right now. Use a similar combo as to what 1Point did on King's Row just before with the self-destruct into the Shatter. Though you can almost imagine that 1Point would be prepared for that to happen, and Chow, he often does save his self-destruct for mid-fight to split up the team of 1Point.
He's got that in the pocket, ready to use, doesn't want to initiate. Like you said, he prefers to put it in the middle of the fights. Pluke's got that Shatter, just waiting for the time to use it. Graviton Surges are online. Eternal Academy has the significant ult advantage, but the longer this goes on, 1Point will catch up. Flippy goes in with the rally, pushes back Super Fluke, but he's still holding strong. Kenzi's already found Chubbs. No shield to block out that Shatter as they come through. Sound Barrier being used, it buys more time. Graviton Surge being answered in kind, self-destruct on top of it. Super Fluke trying to get it, boops him out of the way, but everyone's still fine. They will try and cancel out that remake coming in from Chow, but he's still going to get himself back in there. Tech 3-6 drops down as now the rest of 1Point are in dire straits here, but Fluke will get answered by Zik, who's then stunned up and killed by Askov. It's Kenzie to try and take out the rest of them. 1Point not able to complete Junkertown, and now we move onto their defensive hold.
It's so simple for EA at the moment right now. All they do is they play it slow, and Askov consistently finds these sneaky little angles where he flies down like an angel of death from the heavens and just boops you back into the rest of the team of Eternal Academy. And Chubbs is really struggling to deal with it, and no one on the team of 1Point can deal with it massively unless you send Tech 36, but Tech 36 is such an integral member to 1Point. He almost has to stay with the team to make sure that they're doing well enough and preventing the aggression from the front line of Eternal Academy.
Now we're going to flip this round, and there's been a lot of focus. We called it in King's Row on the front line in particular. We said that Chubbs, he was the entry point here for Eternal Academy. We also had a lot of pressure onto Pluke, but it feels like Eternal Academy just so much better at mitigating that offensive, and it really does show here. Chubbs, if we compare just death stats between Pluke and Chubbs, and that's not a call out to the players individually, because a lot goes into the team to keep these players up, you're going to see a stark contrast.
Absolutely, and I think a lot of times that's because 1Point, what they love to do, and we've seen it in their previous games throughout the season, is they isolate members on the enemy team and they try and take them down quickly. I don't think they've ever had this really happen to them, where one member of their team is consistently just outmaneuvered and pushed away from them. So now they have to focus on keeping Chubbs alive rather than this aggressive playstyle, which has been a massive boon to them throughout the season. Eternal Academy, they have them read like a book right now, like several books. They've really studied the subject of 1Point. And it shows. It really does show.
Trying to get some early picks. Will dink Super Fluke, but he will get back to the point safely. He has got a Mercy to pocket him there and get his HP bar back up. Zik's already found Zeal though, so one pick kills the momentum of Eternal Academy. Askov's there to bring him back, and they've got good eyes on. They're using the scouting arrow to find targets for Flippy to then pick off. Yeah, it's very smart. This is exactly like I'd like to see Double Sniper played. It's really about creating all this crossfire that really Eternal Academy aren't able to deal with right now. Ooh, he knows. He knows, dude. It backs out of that Hulk, does not consent. Yeah, I don't want any of that. I did not sign on the waiver. Thank you very much. Not on this ride. And then but they are going to fight out. Ooh, Zeal does find him. Now this creates a lot. This actually is massive for the team because now they can focus on one angle and just find Flippy. And they're going to chase him down, but he won't get the kill here just yet. Flippy pops the emphasize. He's being pocketed. You can't do it. And now they're going to put down a supercharger to just embolden all the damage. Pluke will take out Tech 3-6. And of course, it is Chubbs is giving that extra damage over to Flippy, but Chow doesn't care. He blindsides him with the micro missiles, takes him out, picks it off, and now Chubbs has to go down here. Scalar will remove Super Fluke with a couple of right clicks as Askov brings Fluke back into the fight. Same can't be said for Chubbs. Very fast point A take. Dragon Strike being used because the switch off is going to occur for point B. Absolutely. And you know what? Chow isn't waiting around for his mech to come back. He just uses the self-destruct there, knows that he has to be the one to contest the high ground right now. It takes a very long time for the rest of his team to get up there. So once he's in mech, we can see this. What a lot of other teams do is they use the Diva to just sweep the high ground with the boosters, pull them down, and put them on playing, just equal playing fields for the GOATS matchup. Eternal Academy, they make the last switch. It's Zeal over the Brigitte. And 1Point have this distinct advantage that Scalar currently holds the Transcendence. However, Tridd, we have seen so far, Scalar's been using his Transcendence a bit haphazardly, not getting a massive amount of value, which is very uncharacteristic for this player in particular. Let's see if he can hold on to this one long enough in this fight and really use the advantage, because the longer he holds on to it, the more likely Eternal Academy are going to catch up on the rotation. Tri-Spit already takes out Zik, and the Transcendence comes out to try and keep everyone alive. But do you concede that fight then and try and maintain the ult? Because Kenzie, he's at 50% already. He gets that grab online. You're going to be in for some serious hurt as Chubbs and the rest of the team goes down. Eternal Academy just completely unfazed. They let the Transcendence go, and then they just go on the offensive.
And this is going to be a very quick point B take right now. There's so much ultimates from Eternal Academy. This is looking really dire for 1Point, because as we come into point C, which they're most likely not going to be able to actually contest point C, Kenzie's going to have a Graviton online. Chao's going to be able to combo. Su will be able to be the finisher with the Earthshatter to drop them all down, drop that shield in this fight. There's not long to go to actually push this one in.
Kenzie's got this grab to try and just break this chokehold that they had so much difficulty with letting 1Point get through, and going to drop down and try and escort the payload through. But they could just grab them in a very unfortunate position here. You can see Askov was still waiting there to try and like watch the back line, make sure no one was going to come in behind him and do anything sneaky. But as soon as that gate closed, they want to drop down here and contest it immediately into the grab. Good. Chubbs already found Tri-Spit before they got caught up, though, so it might be a little bit difficult for them as they try to break him through. The rally from Flippy keeping everyone up. Chubbs finds his second kill of the fight. Third kill even onto Super Fluke, taking him down as well. I think he heard the comments about his deaths and the sound barrier committed after the fight's already been won by 1Point. Questionable usage, but they now set up a potential chokehold.
Yeah, he got some sweet revenge there. Kind of unfortunate for Kenzie because the wall did just close as the charge came through. So you could either say it's lucky, or you know what, Chubbs, he timed that perfectly. We're going to go for timed it perfectly. Yeah. I trust in Chubbs.
On the side of
in Chubbs we trust.
Yeah.
But Eternal Academy right now, they're going to have this bomb available. And this is important because versus Zik and these Gravitons every single time, Chao is able to find a little place where he's able to put the bomb. And it's been a massive nuisance for 1Point so far, really stopping and nullifying all of the pressure.
Flying off there by Eng. Wanted to do the same thing, but Flippy's going to find Askov. So they're losing one member already as Eng sets up for his other boop. We're going to burn for him. No value coming out there for Eternal Academy. No ults used by 1Point. It's just one boopy boy from the form of Eng.
I think Askov actually got his sound barrier cancelled during that fight.
That's even
midway
worse.
Through, so really bad. This means that they can't go for an aggressive push through this small aperture right here because they don't have the sound barrier to sustain themselves through the drop. At 1Point, with this massive ultimate, now Eternal Academy have to do something they're not used to doing, which is going aggressive versus 1Point. They have to force out ultimates.
Holding the defense matrix, didn't want to get caught up on a grab. They know Kenzie's close to it. Transcendence coming out aggressively from Scalar. Now Tri-Sphere has the overlap. Grab online for Kenzie. Won't find anyone. They've all backed off. It does break this chokehold. Chao finds two. Both supports with the dry bomb coming in there as they get this payload back in motion. But they have far more time in their bank to get away with this than 1Point did when they finally broke the aggressive chokehold.
Chao has been the spear of this team every single time. You might think the spear has been blocked, but somehow it twists round and it still finds you in the side. Eternal Academy coming in this next fight, they're going to have the rally, which is hugely important versus 1Point, because on this corner, it's extremely potent when you can get super aggressive onto a team and force them back into a small corner where that's when Kenzie starts to shine with this huge charge. They also have a massive shatter available to them.
They use the amp with speed to get onto the back line. Graviton Surge finding just one in the corner as the self-destruct comes over. Won't find anyone else, but they trade 1-for-1. Zeal for Tech 3-6. They're moving the payload round to completion. They have to try and keep Fluke up here. Shield will block out his shadow as it didn't break in time, but Eng will get the kill as Tri-Sphere deals with Chubbs. It's not to be just yet, but they're keeping the fight going as Kenzie tries to get some extra damage off. Eternal Academy have to retreat 4.17 meters away from victory and securing playoffs, or potentially securing playoffs. They've got a couple more fights in the tank.
They do. Well, 1Point, now they've got all three supportive ultimates online, so they have a lot to hold the line right now, and hold the line is exactly what they need to do. Eternal Academy have a lot to just ruin the line that's made in the sand, just completely throw it away. But Eternal Academy, they have to make these 5 ultimates work right now. 1Point, they have to weather the storm. That is their main prerogative right now. They must play patiently. They have to switch their style up.
You got the rally. They're going against 5 ults from Eternal Academy, sending in the dry bomb. Won't find any joy this time around, but the grab's going to eat up. Kenzie going to consume that one. Oh, sorry, Tech 3-6 going to have that consumed. They're going to commit that sound barrier in as well. Scalar's using the Transcendence. There's a Graviton Surge from Zik. Will come out, but Eternal Academy are going to stay up here as Tri-Sphere will move in with that Transcendence overlapping as well. So all these ults committed, and no one's going to die just yet. There's been a disconnection on the side of Eternal Academy with 1 minute remaining. So it looks like going to have to take a quick pause and jump back into the action. Good riddance to any of his ultimate charge, though.
Absolutely. That is super unfortunate. Chow been removed from the fight there. They are just going to start the game back up again.
Back in straight away. Thankfully, he's back in. So Chow did also just use a self-destruct, so not a lot of ult charge being missing from this one. Chubbs will still go down with chaos as Kenzie takes down one. Looking for more as Flippy going down low, but he's still staying up for now. Super relentlessly trying to survive against Tech 36. Kenzie finds another one, and he's got high energy, burning through it all. Chow comes back into the fight, immediately pays for his sins with 3 kills. And Eternal Academy take the series 3-1 and keep their playoff dreams alive.
You can disconnect a player on the side of Eternal Academy, but you cannot disconnect them from their determination to win that fight. That is incredible. The Super was just able to survive for so long. Wow, well played to them. I mean, Ascoft, huge boon to the team all the way through. There in the end as well, he's keeping all these attackers off Superpluke. 3-1 to Eternal Academy. It feels like that they've just raised their game to a new level this week. This new style that they're playing with the 3-3. I'm very impressed.
You should be very impressed. If we put this in context as well, 2 of their core members there, in Kenzie and Chow, they historically come from a team that by their own admission said they could not play GOATs. That's why they relied on that May variation. And now they're, like you said, they're playing an impressive form, especially against One.PoinT, who were looking like a good tank-focused team in this league.
And it's just, it's very... Like, I want to say that there was one player that was individually just performing super well, but it felt like the entirety of Eternal Academy were just playing so good that basically One.PoinT just couldn't deal with them because Kenzie was playing extremely well. He was popping off at moments. Chow were popping off others. This Chow and Kenzie combo, though, in particular, I think I would say that they have been some MVPs of this match overall. Chow with these huge bombs, and it's such a weird and uncommon style for the GOATs to be played where they hardly ever threw out that grav bomb combo. They mainly just used it to stop aggression. And, you know, I'm super okay with that. I mean, this is a team that's played some really weird stuff, so it's absolutely fine for their GOATs to be weird as well. And, you know, I'm glad for it.
This is that FEMA shot.
Yep. Coming in. Just the shin just flying off.
Yeah, absolutely dismantled him. As Flippy did put on a good show despite losing the map. Zeal with the ultimates that just sealed the deal for Eternal Academy. Dragonblade, not much that One.PoinT could have done about that one, as they just take control of the point on Horizon.
Yeah, and this is a match that I actually thought would be very close, but and I thought it would be in the favor of One.PoinT, and it feels like Eternal Academy really took the GOATs play to them. And I don't think that One.PoinT have ever played against this type of GOATs. And I think Colsey has tried to prepare his team for every different scenario and situation. But here, I don't think you can really prepare for this type of playstyle where they just throw everything that we know about GOATs to the wind and like, you know, we'll play it our way. We'll play it the Eternal Academy way.
And this was the noose around One.PoinT's neck, was that chokehold at the start of Point C. It was just unbelievable how much time back they burned after a very fast initial offensive. Eternal Academy just conservative use of ultimates, making them go the distance and forcing One.PoinT to just burn so much of that time bank.
It's definitely a playstyle that's akin to Hurricane. I think that if anywhere you want to look for a great defensive GOATs comp and players, it's definitely Hurricane at the moment. But I think Eternal Academy have put their own little spin on it where self-destruct is used in very unconventional ways, which create a lot of space for the team. So even though Kenzie might not be charging Gravitons as fast as Zik, he is consistently finding value out of them. Tech 36, who is known for eating Gravitons, sure, he got a couple in the beginning there, 2 in 1 map as well as on Li Zhong. But after that, really, Kenzie was just playing so cautiously with these Gravitons, and Tech 36 not able to get these massive eats, which a lot of times propel One.PoinT to victory. And I think that was really the thorn in the side of One.PoinT a lot of the time.
And Chow also got a couple of consumptions on there.
He did as well,
on Zik as well, which is something he's been able to do, but not to the same
degree,
accolade as someone like Tech 36, who I think does hold the title of Hungriest Diva EU.
Yeah, absolutely. Just the BBC as well, the black hole recently, and it's just Tech 36's mech, really, at the end of the day.
Just unending appetite from that player in particular. But with this, Eternal Academy do keep their playoff dreams alive, and I believe they now just concede control over to Shoes Money Crew, who were tomorrow's fixture against Morning Stars. That is a big decider of who will take this final slot, because a flat-out win from Shoes Money Crew basically means that this match was all for naught because they just cannot catch up with the series score to stay in there. It puts them in a very precarious position.
Yeah, so really Eternal Academy, they're counting their lucky Morning Stars right now, that Morning Stars do take it away. But it's weird, though, if we pitched up this matchup at the beginning of the season, Morning Stars versus Shoes Money Crew, we'd almost always say that Morning Stars had the advantage, but Shoes Money Crew consistently playing better and better. There is a massive potential right now for Eternal Academy to actually get into playoffs. But also, if Shoes Money Crew can take them out, yeah, like you say, this will be an unfortunate end.
All right, that's all from this series. We've got an absolute stonker coming up after the break, so do not go anywhere.